For the next session, I would now request Mr. Shashank Sharma, Director, ScoreMe Solutions, to come on stage for the industry presentation.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I think we've had a good panel on the insurance segment. We had all the stalwarts from the sector there. From that note, just taking your attention more towards the lending side is the next theme of the presentation which I've kept. That how have we reached towards the stage of digital lending and placing basically India in the right context there. So from that part onwards, so how have we basically evolved in an industry? So where exactly are we standing at today? So if I go back maybe 10 years down the line, we were at a stage where we were doing in-person meetings for a loan application. Now, as simple as that, I can place it up. If I talk about the current stage, we are at a contactless loan application. Maybe 5 years back, we were at this step. Where are we standing today is a complete paperless credit delivery when it comes to the current stage. And the decision is basically happening in, I would say, seconds or a minute's time. So from that part onward, how we have evolved, this journey as a whole, and how have we basically been able to reach out to this place is something which we are now trying to evaluate. So over here, I'm just trying to deliberate more on the subject that how have different stages been digitized. So if you talk about the first stage, basically, which is the approach stage of the customer today. Now, how are customers approaching different lenders is basically it's a digital onboarding journey now which has been created with the advent of instant KYC validations and with the advent of liveliness check which can happen on the go. So we are able to do a digital customer onboarding there. And once we are at a stage of a digital customer onboarding, what we have eliminated from the system is basically that the elimination of an in-person meeting which has been done. So nowadays, there is no in-person elimination, basically in-person meeting which is happening. Majorly, I would say all institutions have moved towards a journey of, through an online application journey. Next, if I talk about is basically on the automated data fetch or the document parsing algorithms. So the second crucial element which comes to lending is basically on, the document parsing and the data fetch which happens. Now, on the data fetch part, I would say that, the role of account aggregators, the role of different journeys which we are creating for existing and new customers, and a consent layer of data fetch which has been powered in the system has really helped. So from that consent layer to going towards a stage of parsing, critical financial documents. So how are these critical financial documents getting passed today is basically that the customers are either, moving towards a digital journey where we are uploading these documents, or we are moving towards a journey where these documents are getting analyzed through basically an AI-driven pattern of rules which helps these companies to, fetch any kind of a data there. So in short, your documentation gathering, your documentation capturing and analysis has all been automated here. And this was a very, very crucial element of the entire loan life cycle. If I move next into the slides, basically it is more to do with the middleware approach, which is being hosted. So nowadays what is happening is that if you go to a bank, on that particular instant itself, there is a application which is installed at the bank level, which hosts the entire information of the user, and basis which we are able to do I would say automation on the credit policy of the bank, and we are also able to do I would say a complete end-to-end delivery of the entire solution from there. So what this has helped is that this has helped in the elimination of subjective analysis with a better turnaround time. If I move forward, next into this is the business rule engine and the in-principle approval which is now been done. So this has also been digitized to a great extent. Different institutions have different credit policies, and nowadays we make it a habit that we are basically at a stage where the solution can be configured in a single application. And from that solution onwards, we are basically looking at a stage where different parameters and different analysis points which can be captured from different documents are getting factored in. From all these documents which are getting factored into a stage of mapping these important parameters to the critical elements in the rule engine has now been happening. The next is basically an online acceptance of the sanctions which is there. And then we basically talk about the integrations with the LMS and the core backend systems in the bank. Now on these LMS systems and the core backend systems in the bank, what we have basically done is that we have done an induction of an STP journey of the processing which is happening there. Now I'll just very quickly like to place India in the way forward. So what are the growth drivers today which we have with us? Now in the growth drivers, basically what we are saying is that we have done a regulatory push towards digital lending, where launch of account aggregation, launch of digital payments, India Stack as a system, dedicated fintech committees which have been created by the regulators, and a lot of technological innovation has also happened. Now from all these points, the use of new age technology algorithms to mitigate risk and increase efficiency in lending is what has been empowered on. We next move into a stage of basically increasing the internet and the penetration of the smartphones. So as a country, we are basically ranking second in terms of globally. So India ranks second in terms of internet penetration and the smartphone adoption, so which is again a huge opportunity for any fintech or any lender who wants to go completely digital on the lending side. At a demographic advantage also, we are sitting at a place where we are creating 65% of our population is below 35 years. Now that basically helps us to identify different use cases for the new age entrants into the corporate sector. We are adding more and more middle house incomes and high income households by 2030 is what the prediction is. And in terms of the fintech adoption also, we are sitting at an 87% adoption towards fintech versus a global average of 64%. So as a country, we have really done well in this space. And then next is more to do on the product innovation side. Now on the product innovation side, what we have been able to do is that there are new types of products like buy now, pay later. You had early salary guys here before this. We are having P2P firms. We are having POS-based lending. We have salary advance lending mechanisms. We have co-lending, which has really helped the industry to reach out to the last mile connectivity there. We have co-origination platforms, etc. So as an entity, what ScoreMe we have done is that for the new to bank customers, by default, we are having digital lending journeys. But for the existing customers of any institution, now this category was completely unexplored till now. So what we have done is we have also added a solution for the existing customers of different institutions here. Now what basically it offers is that when we are looking at a retail-based consumer base, analyzing the critical data points which are stored in the backend at any institution. All these basically data points help us to cull out different offers, to profile the customers into different heads, to undermine that whether my customer can be extended another line of offer or not. So this has helped in doing a POS-based lending. This has helped in doing salary advance loans, which already many players are doing. This has helped basically with better offers to customers who are having a better worthiness in any institution. So all that is moving towards a next layer of journey. Next, if I talk about the major backbone of the country, which are basically the MSMEs. Now on the MSME side, what we have been able to simplify is that we have been able to do a lot of auto renewal journeys, which is the existing MSME base of any institution. We have also been able to do a lot of digital lending journeys for MSMEs. And EWS is also, one of the parameters for MSMEs which is there. So in a simple use case, if I'm talking about, an auto renewal for a CC account, earlier what used to happen is that if a bank has to, or if any lender has to give a renewal on the working capital side, they were basically doing the same amount of exercise on the paperwork, on the analysis side. And now what we have done is we have basically, changed the entire course of this entire journey, and it has now been automated to a level of STP, where there is no manual intervention. So the backend system is integrated with the bank system, and the banks or any of the lenders, they are basically directly sending the data to our application, from where it is getting analyzed, and end-to-end decision is being taken up for the customer for that. So earlier, if I talk about a 7-10 days process of renewing a customer, now it has come down to maybe just a few minutes of analysis which is there. Rest is basically more to do with the top up on existing loans. So what the top up has done is basically that our data is continuously getting analyzed at the back end. Now once this data is getting analyzed, we are sitting at a stage where we can bring out new and new offers for the customers, where we can bring out new and new profiling for different customers. Every day my profile can change internally in a bank. So this is happening with the real-time information in the backend. This is happening with a lot of public domain information being digitized. And all that is basically what is helping all these institutions to create this new and new offers. Now in the end, I'll just like to focus more on the digital lending platform, that how does a stage-wise lending platform helps. Because in day-to-day as laymen, we don't get to know that how my journey is getting digitized. But how the journeys are getting digitized is basically that we look at a public domain on a web application. From the web application, we basically then move towards a data analysis layer, where my income documents, my KYC documents, my company documents are analyzed. And then we basically move into a data analysis to an integrated report analysis, which is done on a product-based journey. From that, we move on to the next layer, where we map this entire aggregation of the data points to the core in the backend. So if you have to take a personal loan from any institution, what they have is they take your income, they take your date of birth, they match it to an internal credit policy. So all these parameters can be digitized there, and all of this can really help any lender to completely digitize the customer onboarding as well as the analysis part of the entire engine. So in a nutshell, what we are sitting at a country level is that from a stage where I started my presentation, that we were reaching out to a lender for any kind of a loan, we are sitting at a stage where even sitting in this conference also you can apply for a loan, and by the time my presentation ends, you should have funds in your account. So this is the kind of stage where we are sitting at from a retail perspective. Maybe once you finish up your lunch and you reach out back to your office, you can have a business loan dispersed in your account. That is a stage where we are sitting at when it comes to the business loan side. So as an entity, we are already supporting 200 institutions from an end-to-end perspective of digitization, which basically includes a lot of fintechs, a lot of NBFCs, a lot of credit rating agencies, and multiple banks in the countries whom we are servicing. So with any of these banks, we stay in the back-end layer. You as customers stay in the front-end layer, and in between is the bank. So that is how we have been able to digitize this, and I'm pretty sure that in the times to come, we should be able to reach towards a more enhanced way of digital lending. And as a country, since we have taken a target of growing towards a big economy by 2025, so all that cannot happen till the time we move into a stage of more partnerships on the fintech side and more adoption of technology in the lending side. Thank you.